Hello and welcome back to another video on the rest of and to another edition of AEW Dynamite Out of 10, the final stop before Grand Slam Australia. Chris Statlander and Tekla agreed to collide in the strap match for the women's world title. Carl Fletcher tried to win back his TNT Championship against Tommaso Ciampa, so a lot happening on the show. But we started things off with Tony Schiavone bringing out Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland. The Mogul said he'd taken the cleanest spot in AEW while questioning if Omega was going to abuse his EVP power to skip the line. The cleaner responded by promising his goal was to show he was better than the Mogul and McGladdy fighting. After the tempers flared, Omega slapped Swerve. This started the brawl into the crowd that ended with an Omega V-trigger into the stage screen and a Swerve spear off the stage through a table. These promo spots for Omega are showing his limitation of the talker, especially compared to Swerve. While the cleaner is decent, he sometimes loses himself in making his points. The Mogul can lose his words, but he's more a natural speaker. Swerve came out of this looking more controlled and dangerous than Kenny, which leaves the question, can he really keep up with a new generation? The brawl that followed was a great preview of what's to come. They fought like men possessed with mutual hatred. Hangman didn't appear, but he's certain to complicate everything with these two. If the goal is ultimately to set up an old school the new generation battle, Omega v Swerve is going to be great. And yeah, I think we need Will Ospreay to return as well to really maximise the story. Next up, we got the Death Riders versus the Don Callis family. While both teams had not been together in the trio's action in the past, both sides looked unstoppable together, flowing through tag offense while in control. As the contest wrapped up, the Death Riders leader finally got to Clover as Grand Slam challenger, laying him out with a vicious King Kong lariat. After a series of running European uppercuts in the corner on the Alpha Castagnoli impact, threw Takeshita into a mock cutter for a near fall. The family fought back in control, but once Castagnoli and Pac had knocked Takeshita and Davis out of the ring, Mox picked up the win with a paradigm shift on a walking weapon. It's impressive AEW continues to find unique trio matches between these two. This was the strongest version of the Death Riders and was about as interesting a trios contest to get. It often boiled down to Mox, Takeshita, Castagnoli, Davis and Pac and Alexander, and they worked together at a fast pace. While the trios division looks to be on hold until Hangman finishes his world title pursuit, these groups are keeping the spirit of trios thriving. Mox didn't pin Takeshita to win, but the victory gives him momentum into Grand Slam. If the Alpha does not win at Grand Slam, he will likely fall into the background of the Continental Championship scene on a loss. But overall, I thought this was a fun match and gets a 7 out of 10 from me. We then got Tommaso Ciampa versus Carl Fletcher. Fletcher hoped to injure the neck of Ciampa early in this match, but the Psycho Killer responded with an air raid crash on the steel sets. When the Protostar returned to the ring, Ciampa hit a running knee that won his first 2 matches, but only got an earful. Fletcher nearly won off an elevated powerbomb, followed up with an apron powerbomb brainbuster, but the Psycho Killer still kicked out. Ciampa hit a running knees for an ear forward. The Psycho Killer and Brainbuster by the Psycho Killer couldn't keep Fletcher down, and a Brainbuster of his own from Fletcher sealed the victory. Afterwards, Fletcher said he was going to defend the TNT Championship in Sydney. Briscoe asked for one more shot, and the Protostar accepted the challenge as leader. This was a hard-hitting battle between these two that came a war of attrition. Youth conquered experience due to the difficult roads these competitors have been on. This was Ciampa's third match in 11 days. Fletcher's only contest in that time was the one-sided tag bout. While these two over-relied on finishes and kickouts in the home stretch, it was fun, dramatic where Fletcher's resilience was his biggest benefit. It was a surprise to see Ciampa lose this early, but Fletcher deserved to go home. Short TNT Championship reigns are more common with the TNT title than any other title. Ciampa's endeared himself immediately to fans for his presentation and work ethic in the ring, and he'll undoubtedly come back stronger. Fletcher v Briscoe is an overdone match, so hopefully that's it for the last time at Sydney and we get a more exciting match going forward. But I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Moving on then to Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong versus Clark Connors and Daniel Garcia. Freshly Squeezed struggled against the vicious offense from the heels. When Cassidy tried to tag in Strong, he walked out in his tag partner. Darby shifted the balance of the match, attacking Connors, pulling him away from the crowd. This allowed Freshly Squeezed to catch Garcia in a small package for the win. Afterwards, Storm declared to the crowd that she was ready to put her hair on the line. Shafir dragged out Mina and Wheelie U to cut her ponytail while Garcia choked out Cassidy. The reason for Clark and Red Dev tagging together was because the conglomeration wanted revenge on the War Dog for what they did to Darby. Since Gay Kids in Japan, the Death Riders offered assistance. This could also indicate the War Dogs and Death Riders are becoming stronger allies. No matter the reason, the new team looked solid together. It's a shame that even without a strong walkout, heels couldn't win. They never got the usual high-octane pace of AEW tag matches, and the pace match was immediately more effective, showing how far the Death Riders were willing to go. Strong leaving Cassidy should have been a bigger deal, but it just felt interesting where we go from here. This could have been a heel turn, but it's not certain yet. And yeah, personally, I don't know if it maybe should have been done by now or not. I don't know, I just wasn't overly keen on this segment. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to give it a 4. We then got the Young Bucks versus the Rascals versus Private Party in a number one contenders match. Private Party making a surprise return for the first time in over a year as a wildcard team, and then got right back into the action, especially showing their speed advantage on the Bucks. Reed hit a wild jumping cutter on Zay over the ropes onto Nick and Quen at ringside to set up the Rascals to almost pin Matt for the win, following a 450. Nick broke it up and turned the tide with a BDE trigger on Quen and a Meltzer driver on Reed for the victory. Afterwards, FTR arrived to mock the Young Bucks until they both got shut up by super kicks. It was good to see Zay and Quen back in action and looking great in this wild contest. Hopefully this is a long-term return that will make them a strong part of this tag division. It was somewhat surprising for Private Party to come back and lose, but Hook in the crowd might tease he could recruit the returning team to the Ops. The Rascals delivered again in this spot, and this would have been the perfect opportunity for them to jump the ranks and get a shot at FTR. FTR v Bucks is obviously, we've seen it this could be the best chance for them to fully deliver the classic that's long teased. It will need a big stipulation though, and it's also possible that Cope and Cage return is still on the horizon, and maybe we could be setting up for a three-way TLC match, which would be pretty insane. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. We then got the Women's World Championship straps match between Stat and Thekla. Stat started the match in control, dragging the Toxic Sider around the ring, but Thekla rebounded by busting open the Cosmic Killer with steel steps. The blood flowed in this physical battle, but Stat kept answering Thekla in this match with brutal strap shots. After a tombstone from the Cosmic Killer, Judy Hart and Sky Blue struck, attacking Stat and setting a spear up and a stomp to seal the victories for the Toxic Spider. Afterwards, the Triangle of Madness continued to a stack trap before the Brawling Birds, Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor ran them off. A physical contest that heavily relied on the strap as a weapon. These two left lasting bruises on each other. By the end, it was clear Thekla was waning, while Stat refused to give in to her own pain. However, the numbers game was too much for the Cosmic Killer to handle. Thekla already lost to Stat 2 weeks ago. The rematch was not likely to change that, yet Thekla managed to walk out victorious. A massive win for her, who solidified herself as the new big bad one of the women's division. Stat had a great run, but the possibilities of Thekla versus Hayter, Winslow, Willow, Tony Storm, etc. really are exciting. That also gives the Cosmic Killer a fresh story. She's on the chase for a title she knows she can carry. The women's division just got a boost of unpredictable energy that should keep the world title scene hot for a while. While the Converging Forces, a style of warfare match at Revolution could be the way forward. But yeah, either way I'm excited. I really enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to seeing where we're going to go. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Overall, Dynamite gets a 7 out of 10 for me. An up and night down of action. But yeah, I thought most of what we saw was pretty good, pretty unpredictable. The main event was excellent. Fletcher and Ciampa also battled very hard. The rest of the show maybe couldn't meet those lofty highlights, but it's still a solid night of action as we build towards Grand Slam. And I think, I'm really excited about that show because it does feel like anything can happen in AEW, as we've seen with the title changes tonight.
Video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.